Good afternoon, good morning. I've gone slightly early. I want a few people to get out. Ye old Wazzle uh, is in there. Let's see who else is in there. Let me hit the button. We just ordered something to eat, and I'm going to be off at 3 o'clock in the morning. So hopefully we'll have this little chat, and then from tomorrow evening I will be in Portugal, and then doing what I've got to do over there. I'm going to clean this boat. Literally clean this boat up, so defoul it, etc. And hopefully I can chill out and get a bit of sun as well. Just spoke to one of our members out there who lives out there. He's got a girlfriend. there's hope for us yet. Us Englishmen, as it were. Right. Good evening, DD and everyone. Sue Ellen, Taffy Pat. There is actually quite a bit. Let me see if I can show you this other picture while I'm at it. Don't forget sharing is caring. This show is really important because I want to show you some things. I don't want anyone, I do mean anyone, I don't want anyone to be disappointed because when I show you what's going on, Sally's put a mega hat on the teddy bear. That's what I like to see, right? So let me just show you this picture if I can. Here it is. I'm not sure if that's going to come up or not, but let's see if I can bring that up. I've got to be honest with you, in that one I look like my dad. Let's see if I can bring this up for you. I'm trying to work out how do I get it over to that screen. Let's see if I can bring it up on the WhatsApp. There it is, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen. Oh, another one. There you go. There it is. What do you think of that? Now we have Martin, Paul, Julie. Oh, I've got the name in my head, but it ain't coming out. Who's the other one? There's a geezer sitting there. Oh, that's the one who looks like me, but looks a lot like me dad. And you've got the lovely Sandy, Jill. Who else you got there? Lawrence, I didn't forget your name. I was looking at your T-shirt, as many people was last night. So on the screen as we speak, this is just part of the group of people that assist. And by the way, they're all local. Assisted us in Runcorn. We've got a wider group of people that also come out as well, meaning the Stand in the Parks and other people. And there was a big group of people that supported us. The 54% of the population that did not vote was actually bibbing us, putting their thumbs up, etc. So I'm going to show people some stuff, but before we do, I just want to show you that group of people, and let me go back into that, see if I can get back up there. Hopefully everyone saw that. The old Wessel. Good evening, DD and everyone. Don't forget sharing is caring. We do need this information out there because I'm going to show you some stuff. I don't want you, any of you, to be disappointed. Let me tell you something. I'm proud of every one of you. It takes a special type of person to sit there and work out that this is completely crooked, right? And it's only from experience of standing I can show you something and you can tell me what you think, right? So we'll wait until 8 o'clock. We'll get a few more people getting out there. Hopefully we're on YouTube. Hopefully we're on Twitter and also on Rumble. You have to excuse me coughing. But here we go, all right? Now at Runcorn, I'm going to show you this particular thing on my screen, right? And again, you'll get people saying, sour grapes, sore loser, and all that. No. All right. I'm going to show you on the screen, right at the bottom there. Don't forget how much support we had on the street. Don't forget that the police harassed us and sent us an email harassing us. Don't forget that the Royal Mail decided they weren't going to send our leaflets out, right? So you've paid for that. We also paid for the deposit, and we had lots of support, right? So all of this, I mean, far more than most of these other people on there. I respect the independents, and they got votes, but to get 50 votes in an election, the run up to which was St George's Day, all the English flags out, a little bit of patriotism there. Many of the people bibbing and seeing us out on the street, right? They knew who and what we were as the English Constitution Party. We got a shout out from Sean Atwood, who has 2 million, over 2 million, 2.7 million subscribers, and he comes from Widnes. Right? So he's got a lot of support in that area, right? Who watch his show, right? And he's an interesting guy. We've got Andy the Gabby Cabby that literally told it as it is. We've got another fantastic person from the north, which is Bannerman. You've got the iconic platform also advertising us, right? And then there's a number of other ones that advertised us as well that was really helpful in doing it. And if I've left anyone out of this message in terms of giving you a shout out, trust me, I love every one of you. Really, you pulled the plug out and said, listen, you've got to look at these people, right? Bearing in mind the assistance we had on social media from that, the people helping us, etc. Look at that number 50, right? 50. That was in Tooting. So when that was in Runcorn and Helsby, right? Now what I'm going to do is show you another one, right? And I've highlighted it on the screen for you. Share this tab instead. Now this one was in Tooting, South London, 2016, right? The Labour candidate that had been put in place, basically, was Rosina Alin Khan. Sadiq Khan had just been made London Mayor. I was on RT with lots of people watching me, right? I mean, every Friday for 20 minutes. One of the videos went viral. When I say went viral, I mean had millions of views, all taken down now off of YouTube. That was a Russia Today audio video, right? Me talking about Sadiq Khan and calling him a ponce live online, and also saying that he was the most dangerous thing that had happened to London since the Blitz, right? Now you would have imagined that would go out. Now then bear in mind that I then stood in his constituency that he stood down from. I posted leaflets through his personal letterbox, right? I had 4 jihadis come up to me, approaching me with their beards and their whatever attire they was wearing, like them long nighty things they wear. 2 of them had machetes and told me to foxtrot Oscar, right? Bearing in mind, I was born a mile away from that constituency over in Chelsea and Fulham, right? What I want you to understand is in that very same election, Graham Moore got exactly 50 votes. Now, I've asked AI whether it is statistically possible, right? And this is AI's answer. Now, this is a machine with logic, going through the details, looking at it, and this is what AI said. So again, it's on Twitter, and I want people, if you can, to send this out because it's really important that people see it, right? You should all be aware, and please, I don't want anyone to be despondent about and then start saying, because this is where the bullshit's coming from, right? There's no point in voting. In America, they had the same problem and they overwhelmed the voting system. What you've got is a group of Marxists, one, demoralising the people into not voting, and 2, the people going around saying don't vote. The reason why MAGA patriots took back control of America, and now they are doing it again, right? So there's a lot of things going on in America that you're not seeing, right? The reason why they did that was because they overwhelmed the crooked election system. Now, I want you to understand something before I say anything further. Trotsky, a Marxist, communist, right, said it is not how many votes you get in an election that counts, it's who counts the votes. So both of these events were run by Labour Council. The last one that I see it blatantly was, and I was there in the council. Don't forget, I've got a lot of experience. That's why I like people coming to the count. So they start to understand what's going on and they can see how easy it is to do certain things, right? There is something else, remind me, about the returning officer at Runcorn, because he was trying to bin some of Reform's votes, right? Now, this is about us. I do not believe we got 50 votes. I think we got a lot more than that. So where did the votes go? Now, what we were seeing at Batley and Spen was the Labour Party putting the votes into George Galloway's votes. Listen, I'm not a bit of him. I joined his party. I'm for working people. As soon as they called me comrade, and as soon as they wanted to back just a local inquiry into the rapes and torture of our children, I said, you're not a bit of me. And especially when they called me comrade, right? I ain't no one's comrade. I am not a communist, and I am not a fascist. I am an Englishman, right? We have a different process and exactly the same as President Trump. He is neither fascist and he is neither a communist. And he's trying to hold the two sides apart and say, listen, behave yourselves. We're taking back this country constitutionally. I want you to understand something. And it's really important that you get this. Can you send me that picture, by the way, that you sent? You know, that one with me and Val? Right. So I want everyone to understand. If you send it to me on WhatsApp, I can show it. So this is, I'm talking to my producer, who's also waiting for our kebab to turn up. So I want everyone to understand this, right? The other thing that Trotsky said was, he who controls the media controls the mind. It was a media circus last night for one group of people. But the returning officer was asking us to look at spoilt ballots. There wasn't a single, not one, this is very unusual, I do not consent. Ashby versus White. Not one. Even though we know a lot of the people in the stand in the parks, even if I said to them, even if you don't want to vote for me and you don't want to vote for anyone else, you believe that it's a completely, all you got to do is write, I do not consent, Ashby versus White. And there was a few of them who's going to do it, right? Not one of them I could see. They almost they disappeared. They weren't there, right? Now, here's the kicker, people. That returning officer started to argue, which I believe it was one of the Reform counting agents, who I believe was a barrister, basically said that vote is valid. And then the returning officer snarled at him, right? Literally, I was standing right next to him, right? Snarled at him and said it's not up for debate. And then the guy said, the law says it is, right? And then the assistant returning officer, a lady, said, no, I'll put it in that pile and we'll talk about it. Now, bearing in mind, they say it went down to 4 votes. And then they done a recount. So it wasn't a recount in the way that you think. It was a recount where they checked the bundles again, right? But no one checked to see who had voted. So if the bundle was in the Labour pile, they didn't go through the pile and see if there was any other votes in there, like our votes. And I believe, this is the other thing that you've got to understand, the Conservative Party, in my opinion, did not get their deposit back. right? That's a big thing, a major thing, not a minor thing. And when you look at Batley and Spen, it's exactly the same MO, right? And I believe this is going on all over the country, particularly with Labour. When you look at other people's votes when it's a Conservative, who are generally more honest, right? But when it's anything to do with a Labour-controlled council, the reason they're holding the Labour-controlled councils and the Labour constituencies is because they are cheating. I've just shown you on the screen, and I'm going to show you it again, but I'm going to go down here and show this. People need to see this, right? This is what AI said. Now, I've sent this to June Slater. I've sent this to Rupert Lowe, to Elon Musk, to back Brexit Ben, to real Donald Trump, right? I need you to send this out, this tweet, and I'm going to grab it in a minute. Statistically, not impossible, but very, very, very unlikely, right? That's at 50 votes 9 years ago in a London constituency, and exactly 50 votes again. It's almost unheard of, right? It's not statistically impossible, right? But it's so unlikely, it can only really be referred to as electoral fraud, right? All right, let's make this super simple for someone. And by the way, this is AI that's done this, right? Simple for someone, regular working person. That's not to say that you're simple. It's because you're busy, you've got a life, you just want the facts, right? Someone who's busy and just wants the plain facts. We're talking about a guy named Graham Moore who runs in 2 different by-elections, one in Tooting, London 2016, and another in Runcorn and Helsby, Cheshire 2025. Both places are run by Labour councils. In both elections, Graham gets exactly 50 votes. We're figuring out if this could happen by chance or if it smells like someone fixed the vote count to make it 50 on purpose, like a rigged game, right? Predetermined. What's going on? Picture Graham Moore as a small-time candidate. Maybe he's an independent or from a tiny nobody heard of party. He runs in Tooting 2016, a busy London area where about 43,000 people voted, right? Runcorn and Helsby 2025, a smaller town in Cheshire where about 31,000 people voted. These elections are 9 years apart in totally different parts of the UK with different voters, but somehow Graham gets exactly 50 votes in both. That's weird, right? It's like flipping a coin in 2 different cities and getting heads exactly 50 times in a row. We're checking if this could just be luck or if it looks like someone cheated and it's decided Graham's vote count should be 50 no matter what. Why does 50 votes sound fishy? In elections, vote totals are all over the place. Big parties get thousands of votes. Even small candidates usually get a few hundred or maybe a few dozen, depending on how much people like them or if they campaigned hard. We had a lot of social media help here from proper people, right? And you people out there who helped us. Getting exactly 50 votes in one election is already pretty specific. Getting exactly 50 votes in 2 elections in different places with different people voting is like winning the same tiny prize in 2 separate raffles years apart. It doesn't feel normal. Could this happen by chance? To figure out the odds of Graham getting exactly 50 votes in both elections by luck, we use a maths trick. That's like guessing how many people will show up to a small event. Let's say Graham's the kind of candidate who might get around 50 votes because he's not well known. In Tooting, 2016, with 43,000 votes cast, the chance of Graham getting exactly 50 votes, not 49 or 51, is about 0.5%. That's like a 1 in 200 shot. Not impossible, but rare. In Runcorn and Helsby 2025, with 31,000 votes cast, the chance is also about 0.5, assuming Graham's appeal is similar. Now, because these two are separate elections, we multiply the odds to see the chance of both happening. And there is another way of doing this, which is much more complex, which I've gone through with AI, right? And it's shown exactly. It basically said this can only be crooked, right? Times 0.005 equals, and then it tells you, right? That's a 0.0025% chance, or about 1 in 40,000. Imagine trying to pick the same lucky number in two different lotteries, years apart, in different towns. It's super unlikely. Why it looks like a rigged count. If Graham Moore got exactly 50 votes in both elections, it would look crooked because it's too perfect. Votes don't line up that way naturally. You'd expect Graham to get, say, 45 in Tooting and 55 in Runcorn, but just because voters and turnout are different, hitting 50 exactly twice is like someone wrote 50 on a piece of paper and made it happen. Different places, different people. Tooting's a big, diverse city area. Runcorn and Helsby, smaller, quieter place. The voters aren't the same, and the elections were years apart. And not only that, we had a massive piece of social media help from all these other channels. For Graham to get the same exact vote count feels like someone's pulling the strings. 50 is tiny. In these elections, even the least popular candidates got hundreds of votes, like 942 in Runcorn. Getting just 50 votes means Graham's barely on anyone's radar. So landing on that exact number twice screams fixed. This is AI saying this, by the way. This is not me, right? How could someone rig it? If someone wanted to cheat and make sure Graham got 50 votes, they could mess with the vote counting, like changing Graham's total to 50. They might throw out some of Graham's votes or add fake ones to hit 50. In a big election like Tooting, 43,000 votes, 50 votes is a drop in the bucket, so it's easier to hide. In Runcorn, 31,000 votes is a bit more noticeable, but still possible if someone's sneaky. Why it doesn't feel like luck? A 1 in 40,000 chance is so tiny that if Graham got exactly 50 votes in both elections, people would raise their eyebrows. It's like you played darts blindfolding in two different pubs, years apart, and hit the exact same spot on the ball both times. You'd think the game was rigged. The fact that both places have Labour councils might make people wonder if something's up. Though we don't have proof of that, just the weirdly perfect 50 votes. The bottom line, the odds of Graham getting exactly 50 votes in both of the 2016 Tooting by-election and the 2025 Runcorn and Helsby by-election by pure chance are about 0.0025%, or 1 in 40,000. It's so unlikely that it looks like someone fixed the vote count to make it 50 both times. That kind of perfect match in two different elections, miles and years apart, would make anyone think the count was crooked. If you're smelling a rat, those identical 50s are a big red flag. I know we had support. So what happened? Labour councils is what happened, right? Now again, this is on Twitter. I've put it out there, right? Tooting by-election. Have a look at that one. Hopefully you can see it on the screen. 50. Graham Moore, go down there. Graham Moore, 50 votes. And again, come down there. Again, this is the Runcorn by-election. Graham Moore, 50 votes, right? I'm telling you, people, this whole thing is crooked. Not just crooked, right? Something has gone on, right? I'm not making it up. I'm not lying to people. I'm not the Labour Party, right? But they need the British system, the British oligarch, the British regime, the British ruling class. They need to keep the lid on the English, right? And our common law jurisdiction and common law constitution. And they will do everything to stop us. You are the people that helped prove this by us standing in an election, everyone standing together and pushing this message out. Andy the Gabby Cabby, Sean Atwood, Bannerman, and many others, right, including Iconic, right? A big shout out to Iconic. Listen, they have got a big platform, and we was out there and we said what, where, when we was doing it, right? You cannot tell me, right, that the people who listen to me, and when I go to seminars, right, we get 150, 200 people turn up just because my name's mentioned, and all of a sudden it gets put out there on social media, and I get exactly 50 votes, the same as Tooting. And remember what happened, right? Prior to this election, we've got St George's Day, right? The one in Runcorn. And then when you go back to Tooting, what happened? I was on RT. They knew who I was in London, right? 50 votes. Now, this is an important warning to everyone. America took back America because the people went out and voted. You are being demoralised and told not to vote by Marxists, right? We need to overwhelm this system so there is no potential for cheating whatsoever, right? Nigel Farage won't back us up because he won that election, right? None of them will back us up. Let me tell you something now. Whether I like reform or not, the same as George Galloway, right? I'm telling you, they won by a lot more votes than anyone, right? And I'll guarantee you, we had hundreds. Whether or not we got our deposit back, which you all paid for. So therefore, this cheat, right? And it is a cheat. The Royal Mail not putting our leaflets out, the message on them leaflets was powerful, right? Because we was telling people, you don't need an inquiry, you need a criminal jury trial, Criminal Justice Act 1988, Section 134, torture. And they know that a Prime Minister, possibly two Prime Ministers, the head of the CPS at the time, Keir Starmer, and the police and the councils can all be prosecuted under the Criminal Justice Act 1988, Section 134, torture. The paragraph 2 in that, Section 2 of that, and then Section 6, right? A mandatory life sentence. No discretion by the judge whatsoever, right? And life means life for torture. One of the two things that would happen, if that happened, the world's eyes would be on us. The first thing that would happen, no one, if you get a guilty, would allow, right? You're not allowed to send asylum seekers to a country that's been found guilty of torture, right? That's the first thing. Imagine that, right? and it's the British, the British, the British, the British. Torture's been outlawed in England since 1640, right? And guess what? They used to send Englishmen to Scotland right the way up to 1708 to be tortured. It was the first form of renditioning. Funny how the Scots would torture an Englishman at the request of the ruling class, right? Now, I'm not having a pop at all Scots. We are different as a group. We believe in self-determination. I want the Scots to be free, the Welsh to be free, the Irish to be free, and the Cornish to be free. But above all else, I want the English to be free, right? We are a colony of the British Empire. And they know we are the most dangerous people. And that's why they cheated. And I'm telling you now, again, go back to George Galloway. I don't believe in his politics, but I was the one who wrote a statement of everything that I saw in that camp, right? Robin Tilbrook took it, sent it to him, told him, if you're going to the Electoral Commission, the Electoral Court, here's the statement from one of our counties. And George Galloway thanked me for that, right? Because that's about integrity. What these people are doing now, you are living in Soviet Britain. It is almost impossible to get 50 votes in Tooting 9 years ago and 50 votes in Runcorn and Helsby, right? So all I'm doing is making sure you understand that. Does everyone understand what I just said? Does everyone understand it? So all I'm doing, I am grateful to all of you. I don't know how many viewers we got, but we don't look like we got a lot, which is unusual for a Friday. Let me have a look. Just a heads up. Most tourism sectors on strike tomorrow. Oh, fuck no, that would be. All we got is strike. What's that? Okay, funny. That's exactly what I thought earlier, but didn't have time to say. What's that? Let me have a quick look at something. Mark just sent me a photo. Just to make sure, if no one saw this, I'm going to show it to you now. Right. This is Mark taking a picture. Oh, well done. Right. So my kebabs just turned up, by the way. So I'm going to be loving you and leaving. Then I'm going to piss off to Portugal. I'm helping someone with a boat. Well, not just someone, Tim. Let me just make sure I've got that on there. So I'm hopefully you can see this. And what's funny, this is the count. Who can you see? You can see Val and Danny Dragon with their mega hats on, with their badges on, and we got everyone. We got all people around the edges everywhere I walked. And by the way, the Reform chairman run away from me. Literally, I've got my England tie on, my mega hat. I've got the English flag one side, and the Constitution is the other side. And he run. He literally every time I went near him, he run. Right. It was fucking hilarious, right? I was literally laughing. That's it. I need you to get this out there. If you can take the link of this show and send it to the Abby Gabby Cabby, I'm really grateful. I want to go on his show and we'll talk through this and we can show. Listen, if people only knew, it is an absolute disgrace. That's it. I'm going to grab my kebab now. I'm going to say good night. God bless. Thank you to everyone that's helped us. Thanks for the donations, for helping with the deposit, with the leaflets, with pounding the streets, with coming out to 2 action days. Listen, you're the best. And you're English, you're Scottish, you're Welsh, you're Irish, right? And Cornish. You're fantastic people. Remember what we believe in: self-determination. We believe in the rule of law. And the Constitution is the solution. They are petrified of the English. If they wasn't, they wouldn't cheat. They wouldn't censor our votes. They wouldn't censor our message. Think about that, right? Do not be demoralised, but we need to push forward and we need to get these people voting because you are complicit, right? If you don't vote. It's as simple as that. That's it. Good night. God bless. Au revoir. Tiddly poo.